What if I was to tell you that Vespasian Flavius, according to Suetonis and Tacitus, that he could heal people through the god Serapis, such as healing the blind and as well as healing the lame man? In section 7 of the 12 Caesars of the life of Vespasian, something quite peculiar happens while Vespasian goes to Egypt and enters the temple of Serapis. Therefore, beginning a civil war and sending ahead generals with troops to Italy, he crossed meanwhile to Alexandria to take possession of the key to Egypt. There he dismissed all his attendants and entered the temple of Serapis alone to consult the auspices as to the duration of his power. And when, after many propitiatory offerings to the god, he at length turned about, it seemed to him that his freeman Basiles offered him sacred bowls, garlands, loaves, and is the custom there. And yet he knew well that no one had let him in, and that for some time he had hardly able to walk by reasons of rheumatism, and was besides far away. And immediately letters came with news that Vitellius had been routed as at Cremona, and the emperor himself slain at Rome. Vespasian as yet lacked prestige and a certain divinity, so to speak, since he was an unexpected and still new made emperor, but these also were given him. A man of the people who was blind and another who was lame came to him together as he sat on the tribunal, begging for the help for their disorders, when Serapis had promised in the dream. For the god declared that Vespasian would restore the eyes, if he would spit on them, and give strength to the leg, if he would deign to touch it with his heel. Though he had hardly any faith that this could possibly succeed, therefore shrank even from making the attempt, he was at last prevailed upon by his friends, and tried both things in public before a large crowd, and with success. At this time, by the certain soothsayers, some vases of antique workmanship were dug up in a consecrated spot at Tiga in Arcadia, and on them was an image very like Vespasian. You have to believe this stuff if you want to accept things such as their account and their documents of Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus, Isa, Jesus, whomever. In the book Histories of Tacitus, in book 4, section 81, his account of Vespasian and this healing account goes: during the months while Vespasian was waiting at Alexandria for the regular season of the summer winds and at a settled sea, many marvels continued to mark the favor of heaven and a certain partiality of the gods toward him. One of the common people of Alexandria, well known for his loss of sight, threw himself before Vespasian's knees, praying him with groans to cure his blindness, being so directed by the god Serapis, whom this most superstitious of nations worship before all others. And he besought the emperor to deign to moisten his cheeks and eyes with his spittle. Another, whose hand was useless, prompted by the same god, begged Caesar to step and trample on it. Vespasian at first ridiculed these appeals and treated them with scorn. Then, when these men persisted, he began at one moment to fear the discredit of failure, at another to be inspired with hopes of success by the appeals of the suppliants and the flattery of his courtiers. Finally, he directed the physicians to give their opinion as to whether such blindness and infirmity could be overcome by human aid. Their reply treated the two cases differently. They said that in the first, the power of sight had not been completely eaten away, and it would return if the obstacles were removed. And in the other, the joints had slipped and become displaced, but they could be restored if a healing pressure were applied to them. Such perhaps was the wish of the gods, Serapis, and it might be that the emperor had been chosen for this divine service. In any case, if a cure were obtained, the glory would be Caesar's, but in the event of failure, ridicule would fall only on the poor suppliants. But Vespasian, believing that his good fortune was capable of anything and that nothing was any longer incredible, with a smiling countenance and amid intense excitement on the part of the bystanders, did as he was asked to do. The hand was instantly restored to use, and the day again shone for the blind man. Both facts are told by eyewitnesses even now, when falsehood brings no reward. So Tacitus speaks as if this is historical, and also Suetonius speaks as if this is historical.